welcome back to another edition of Ranking the Soundtrack. I got a few requests to do DuckTales on the NES, so once again, much like the other rankings I've done, this will just be the stage themes. There are only 5 in this game, so it's going to be a pretty short list, but there's not really much else, so I'm not going to do the invincibility theme, the stage select theme, and the main theme, which would be just unfair because, I mean, come on, it's the DuckTales theme. But anyway, let's get on with the rankings. Well, first off, quick disclaimer, these rankings, just like any of the other ones, are just my opinion. I don't begrudge anybody for criticizing my opinion, and I will definitely not be critical of yours either. You like what you like, and I like what I like Yukon Cornelius once said. So anyway, here are my rankings of the 5 DuckTales stage themes. At number 5, the Amazon. The Amazon is my least favorite stage theme, and it's not really a particularly close contest. I will say that there's a lot of meat here in the song. There's a lot going on, no repetition, it goes from one part to the next, but I don't really care for much of it at all. It's pretty dull to me. I guess I do like this this one part in the middle section. But other than that, I don't know, I really can't find myself getting into the Amazon theme. At number 4, the African Mines. Now this theme fits its stage less than any other stage in the game by far. I mean, you're underground in the friggin' mines of Africa, and while you would think you'd be hearing a dark, ominous tune, instead you've got this song that is funky as hell. So yeah, it doesn't fit, but I don't care. I'm not gonna hold it against it. Cool thing about it is that there's no repetition at all, really, with the exception of the beginning. You'll hear the opening riff twice in a row, and kind of, even then, it's the last 2 bars of the second measure is different from the first, so you're definitely not going to hear the same shit over and over again. It definitely had brass in mind with the lead instrument. It definitely sounds like you've got some saxophones blasting in there. There's one part in particular I really like during the end section of the loop. I just love the way that sound just kind of crawls and then finds its way from there, looping back into the main lead riff of the song. Good stuff. At number 3, the Himalayas. By far, this is the most upbeat song that you can dance to on the soundtrack. Maybe African Mines can give it a little bit of a run for its money now that I think about it, but Himalayas definitely is the most up-tempo, upbeat song on the soundtrack. It's just so fun and energetic. Again, I don't know if it really fits the stage all that well. I think you'd expect something a little more moody and to go with the frigid atmosphere, but there were only so many stages, and you definitely wanted to use this song somewhere, so why not? I wouldn't say that there's really any standout moments in the song that I really love in particular, but it's just a solid piece of music from front to back. All of it is good, it's catchy as hell, pretty much the catchiest song in the game, really. At number 2, Transylvania. Perhaps there's nothing more cliche in a platformer than a haunted house level, especially ones with skeletons and ghosts, and of course a Beagle Boy. But Transylvania does a really good job of conveying that spooky mood without being overly obvious about it. The riff in the main verse is very simple, It has a dark presence to it, but it's not jumping right out at you and saying, "Boo, haunted house," either. And I think what really helps, too, is the second section of the song. It's kind of like this cool little, slow, solo-ish kind of a thing. It changes it up just enough, changing up the pace without changing the mood or the tone. It fits perfectly and really is the backbone to keeping the song from perhaps drifting a little bit into that cliche sound. I think if the whole song sounded like the first section, you might have that feeling of the song in general. So I think that second verse is very important. At number 1, The Moon. No surprise here at all. This is one of the best songs on the NES. It's just written perfectly. I mean, you've got this beautiful intro that leads you to believe that it's a slow, dreary kind of a song, but then it kicks into high gear with an up-tempo beat. But the riff, which actually is a variation of the intro riff, is way less busy than the beat. It's working its way against the rhythm. It actually does this in the intro too, with that little synth sequence sound that actually is the first thing you hear. It's got that slow, fast dynamic going on back and forth against each other at the same time in both parts. The riffs in the song are actually simpler than a lot of the other songs on the soundtrack, but every single second, every note, every pattern, everything is exactly what it should be. It's just a fantastic song, front to back. I wouldn't even say there's anything in particular about it that I like more than anything else. The whole thing is equally awesome. So, a quick rundown of the list. At number 5 was the Amazon. At number 4 was the African Mines. Number 3 was the Himalayas. Number 2 was Transylvania. And number 1 was the Moon. So feel free to comment on what you thought of the list, or what your own list is, or your thoughts on any of the songs in general. And that pretty much wraps up this edition of Ranking the Soundtrack. See you next time.